The joke of the council. The Grand Council of Worlds sat in a giant silver hall that floated in deep space. There were leaders from 100 alien species. Tall, thin ones with shining skin. Short ones with sharp claws. Ones that floated instead of walking. They came from every corner of the galaxy. And they all laughed. On the center screen, a small blue and green planet spun slowly. Earth, is this the one they call a death world? A thick-voiced general asked. Yes, another replied with a chuckle. But it's just humans. Weak bones. Soft flesh. Tiny lifespans. The laughter grew louder. One alien leader waved a hand, dismissing Earth from the screen. Their planet is too harsh for most species. That's why they act tough. They had no choice. But didn't they beat the Zellan swarm? Someone asked. Another leader scoffed. That swarm was already broken. Earth simply delivered the final blow. Pure luck. The council laughed again. No one was afraid of humans. They saw them as strange, loud creatures who loved chaos and noise. Curious, yes. Brave, maybe. But dangerous. Never. One of the younger officers, named Bren, stood in the back of the hall. He wasn't laughing. He had studied Earth for years. He had read their battle records. Watched how they trained. Seen their history, how they rose again and again after every disaster. Bren believed they were hiding something. He leaned toward the ambassador of his homeworld. We shouldn't ignore Earth. They've been quiet for too long. Relax, the ambassador replied. They are a backwater planet. All talk. Bren didn't reply. He stared at the black space beyond the hall's giant window. Somewhere, Earth was watching. He could feel it. Meanwhile, far from the council's main hub, a group of pirate fleets had entered a small system protected by Earth's colonies. These pirates came from powerful empires. They believed Earth wouldn't dare fight back. They raided mining outposts. Took supplies. Captured workers. One pirate leader sent a message directly to Earth. We own this sector now. Stay out or face the consequences. The message ended with laughter. Earth didn't respond. Not at first. Days passed. Then weeks. The council saw no action from Earth and mocked them again. They are scared, said one ambassador. I told you, they bark but never bite. But Bren noticed something strange. All trade from Earth's systems suddenly stopped. Civilian ships vanished from trade lanes. Colony traffic dropped to zero. It was as if Earth had gone quiet, too quiet. Then, it happened. One night cycle later, sensors across multiple star systems picked up a massive energy surge. Something had exited hyperspace, but not like anything they'd seen before. It was fast. Too fast. It didn't announce itself. It didn't respond to hails. The signal came from the edge of the invaded colony system. From deep, silent space. A single ship, large. Black. Silent. The council received one blurry image. No name. No markings. Just the faint glint of heavy metal armor, shaped for war, not beauty. One whisper spread across every channel, every species, every council chamber. Earth had sent a battleship, but not just any battleship. A new class, one never seen before. Something built in secret. Something designed not just for defense, but for terror. Panic rippled through the pirates who had taken the colonies. They scrambled their fleets. Laughed at first. Sent messages again, turned back, Terran ship. This is your final warning. The black battleship didn't answer. It just kept moving. Brent stood in the council hall, eyes fixed on the live feed. The image zoomed in, revealing sharp armor plating, glowing engines, and strange weapon systems never identified before. This isn't an old ship, he whispered. This is something new. Something we weren't meant to see. The council fell quiet. No one laughed now. The battleship spoke without words, and the first fleet vanished. The pirate fleet waited near the edge of the system. Hundreds of ships stood ready, some small and fast, others large and heavily armed. Their commanders were confident. They had numbers, firepower, experience. What they didn't have was fear. That changed the moment the black battleship entered. Visual range. It moved without sound. It didn't slow. It didn't change course. It flew straight toward them as if they didn't matter. The pirates laughed through open channels. Look at it. Just one ship. They must be mad. Fire. Everything. The first wave of missiles shot forward. Dozens of red flashes streaked through space. Every ship launched what it could. Cannons. Lasers. Plasma. They lit the stars with fire, and yet, the battleship didn't even dodge. The missiles hit, some exploded on its surface. Smoke covered the ship, but when the dust cleared, it was still coming, untouched. Inside the pirate command ship, their leader cursed. How? That should have damaged it. A second officer looked at the scans. Their armor, it's absorbing energy. Redirecting it somehow. The leader's hand shook slightly. Then we switched to mass rounds. Aim for the engines. A second wave of attacks began, heavy slugs, railguns, even gravitational weapons. The battleship finally responded, not with words, but with power. Its side panels opened like wings. Strange weapons emerged, blades of glowing metal, rotating guns, long barrel cannons that shimmered with unseen energy, and then, it fired. The nearest pirate ship vanished in one white flash. No explosion. No debris. Just silence. The second ship split in two, clean and instant. The third ship tried to flee, too late. Within moments, the first row of ships was gone. The rest turned, panic rising. Fall back. One shouted, retreat. It's a trap. But there was no escape. The battleship moved faster than expected, far too fast for something its size. Each blast was precise, each strike final. In less than 10 minutes. The entire pirate fleet had been destroyed, hundreds of ships erased like dust. Only the black battleship remained, floating silently. Back in the council chamber, the feed ended. The screen turned to static. No one spoke. Bren finally broke the silence. That ship didn't fight like others. It didn't broadcast a warning. It didn't even scan for survivors. It didn't need to, one older council member whispered. It came with one message: Earth doesn't ask twice. The council began to argue, quietly, but with rising fear. Why would they send such a weapon? Where did they build it? No one saw this class before. Was it even crewed? Maybe it's AI-controlled. Bren kept his eyes on the black screen. We should have listened. We called them primitive. Wild. But they were watching. Preparing. They waited for the galaxy to laugh, he added. And now, it stopped. Far from the council, the black battleship turned again. Its engines glowed, then disappeared into hyperspace. It didn't leave behind a message, only an empty system, and the remains of what used to be a pirate empire. Asterisk. Whispers across the stars. It was just one ship. News of the pirate fleet's destruction spread fast. First, it reached the nearby trade routes. Merchant ships picked up scattered signals, emergency broadcasts, distress calls cut off mid-sentence, and one repeating message in a cracked voice: it's not a warship, it's a monster. Then, the mining stations heard. One by one, they shut down operations, packed up their drills, and fled the system. No one waited for confirmation. Soon, the whispers reached the council. It destroyed the entire fleet in minutes. No survivors. None. Not even black box data. It's like the ships were erased. Inside the council chamber, panic grew. This was an act of war, shouted one lizard-like general. Earth sent a message, said another, nervously flicking its tendrils. And we pushed them to it. A third slammed a metal fist on the table. It was just one ship. One. What happens if they send more? The council leader, an old figure with a smooth, glowing head, tried to calm the room. We do not act out of fear. Earth must be contacted. Now. A diplomat, shaking slightly, sent the message: Council requests immediate explanation and peaceful talks. No more aggression. Let's speak. They waited 1 hour, then 2. In a reply, the room grew colder with silence. Across the galaxy, others were listening. Small colonies on the edge of space began locking their doors. Independent planets cut off contact with Earth just in case. Spaceports banned Terran ships from docking. Fear spread quicker than light, but Earth said nothing. It didn't need to. The image of the black battleship, shared in millions of systems, said it all. It became known as the Silent One. Some said it was alive, some said it carried no crew, only death, others believed it was the first of many. Back on Earth, the skies were calm. In a secret facility beneath the surface, technicians and officers watched the galaxy react from their screens. One officer turned to the commander. "They are scared now." The commander, a quiet man with hard eyes, didn't smile. "Good. They should be. They've sent messages, begging for talks. We won't respond." "Why not?" The commander stood, arms behind his back. "They only listen when they are afraid. Let the fear grow. Then we talk." The officer nodded slowly. "Should we send another ship?" The commander thought for a moment, then replied, "No. One is enough. For now." In a hidden research station on a moon near Council Space, scientists gathered in a large room. They had spent years trying to study Earth's military designs. Most of their attempts failed. Now, they stared at still images of the black battleship. "We don't understand the weapons," one muttered. "The energy used is off all known charts. Could it be an old design we missed?" "No," the lead scientist said. "This is new. It's too perfect. Too precise." "Then what do we do?" The lead scientist looked up. "Pray they never send two." In quiet corners of space, small groups of aliens met in secret. Some were spies. Some were warriors. Others were former enemies of Earth, and all of them now shared one goal: figure out how to stop the next Terran warship. But there was one problem. No one knew how the ship worked. No one could track where it went, and worst of all, no one could say how many more existed. On a distant world, an old general sat on a rocky cliff, watching two suns set. He remembered when Earth first joined the galactic community. Clumsy. Hopeful. Too trusting. And now, that same planet had built something so terrible it silenced entire empires. The general closed his eyes and whispered, "We laughed. And now, we pray they don't remember." The council sent a probe, and it never returned. The council was growing desperate. Their meetings no longer echoed with pride or jokes. Now they sat in quiet fear, watching the stars, waiting for Earth's next move. But Earth said nothing. Earth sent nothing. No message. No reply. No sign. It was the silence that frightened them most. "We must do something," a counselor said, gripping the edge of his chair. "We cannot live under this shadow." Another spoke with slow caution. "If we attack, we could face more of those ships." "We won't attack," said the council leader. "We'll watch carefully." They agreed to send a stealth probe, small, silent, designed to avoid attention. Its mission was simple: find the Terran battleship. Scan it. Return. They named the probe Whisperer. It was the best stealth drone they had. Cloaked, fast, invisible to radar. Perfect for silent missions. They launched it from a hidden base deep in the neutral zone, far from Earth's borders. Whisperer entered hyperspace with no fanfare. A few hours later, the probe entered the system where the battleship was last seen. There was no sign of any ships, just quiet stars and frozen asteroid fields. The probe scanned everything. Passive sensors only. No signal sent. After hours of quiet, the probe scanner finally caught something, a faint energy trail, leading toward a dead moon near the outer rim. It followed the trail carefully. That's when it saw it, not just 1.3 ships, all black. All silent. All watching. They floated like sleeping giants. No lights. No crew movement visible. Just shadows. The probe tried to take high-resolution images. It got only one frame, then nothing. The feed cut off. Whisperer was gone. Back in the council's command room, scientists stared at the frozen image. It showed 3 Terran battleships, shaped like swords and shields, hanging in space. One had strange marks on its hull, tallies, maybe, or warnings. What happened? One asked. The probe was there, then it wasn't. No signal. No explosion. No debris. "They didn't even fire," said a technician. "They just knew." It meant only one thing: the Terran ships could see the cloaked probe. And they chose to destroy it without leaving a trace. In another chamber, military leaders gathered. "We are not dealing with normal warships," one said. "They are ghosts. Fast. Silent. Smarter than anything we've seen. Another looked. Pale. 3 of them. And we only knew about 1. What if there are more? 10, someone whispered. 100. Another asked. The room went cold. Meanwhile, on Earth's lunar base, a group of officers reviewed the intercepted probe data. It was a council drone, the technician confirmed. We caught it before it even saw our secondaries. The commander of the fleet nodded. Standard procedure. Yes, sir. Disintegration. No signals left. Did they detect the action? No. Their systems won't trace it. The commander stared at the image of the council chambers. They are afraid. He said quietly. Let them stay that way. Back in council space, panic began to spread among allied worlds. Civilian traffic between planets dropped. Trade stations were abandoned. Colonies demanded protection, but the council had no plan. They only had questions. Why is Earth silent? What are they waiting for? Why show 3 ships and say nothing? Whispers began in the outer systems. Some species started pulling out of council alliances. Others fortified their worlds, preparing for the worst. Pirates vanished, militias disbanded, even black market dealers refused to handle Terran tech. Fear was now stronger than politics. In a dark chamber, Bren met secretly with 3 counselors. They sent us a message without speaking, Bren said. They want us to know they can see everything. And we can't see them, one counselor replied. Exactly. What do we do? Bren's eyes narrowed. We find someone Earth trusts. He said. Not a council. Not a soldier. Just someone human. Asterisk. She once lived among humans, now they beg her to save the galaxy. Her name was Myra. She wasn't human, but she had lived on Earth for years. Long ago, before the Terrans went quiet, she had studied with them, eaten their food, and walked their cities under blue skies. She laughed with them. She cried with them, and then she left. When she returned to her homeworld, no one believed her stories about Earth's strength. They called her a dreamer. A fool. Now, the council begged her for help. Myra stood in the tall glass chamber, looking at the scared faces of the council members. Bren was there too, watching from the corner. We don't want war, the council leader said carefully. We want peace. Myra's eyes narrowed. You laughed at Earth. You ignored their warnings. You allowed pirates to attack their colonies. Now you're afraid. The room went quiet. We need a bridge, the leader said. A voice Earth might listen to. Myra didn't answer right away. Her eyes held memory, bright lights in Terran cities, children climbing rubble with hope, humans learning to stand up even after losing everything. They don't trust easily, she said softly. But when they care deeply. And when they fight, they don't stop. Brent stepped forward. You lived with them. You know how they think. Can you speak for us? I can try, Myra said. But if they've sent the battleship, you may already be too late. Myra was given a fast diplomatic cruiser, one of the finest council vessels. It was equipped with white flags and no weapons. Every signal it sent repeated the same message: this is a peaceful request. We come in hope, not war. The journey to Earth was quiet. No patrols met her. No systems blocked her, and yet Myra felt like she was being watched every second. As she approached Earth's solar system, her ship received a signal. It wasn't a voice. It was a single file. Inside it was a video, brief, dark, and terrifying. It showed the 3 battleships again. Then it showed something worse. A black orbital factory, the size of a moon, slowly rotating in deep space. Around it, dozens of half-finished battleships hung in silence. Earth wasn't just ready, Earth was building more. Myra's breath caught. She knew what it meant. The council had thought the silent one was rare, but it wasn't. It was a prototype. A new message followed, text only, simple words in Terran script: one of ours died to protect the colonies you abandoned. This was your warning. There won't be another. Myra sat quietly for a long time. She understood what many on the council did not: Earth wasn't seeking revenge. It wasn't trying to rule the galaxy. But it would not be mocked again. Not after everything it had lost. She turned her ship toward the dark side of the moon, where Earth's command relay silently hovered. She sent her voice to the Terran relay: I'm not a leader. I'm not a soldier. But I was once a friend. And I still am. She paused, then continued, I don't ask for peace because the council is noble. I asked because they're afraid and because they should be. But I still believe in what I saw. On Earth, in the kindness beneath your steel. For long minutes, there was no answer, then a voice returned, calm, male, and strong, hello, Myra. She smiled softly, I'm here to listen, she said, then you're already doing better than the rest of them, the voice replied. Myra leaned back in her seat, there was hope, maybe, back on Earth. The commander received her message and watched. The council's desperate attempts to negotiate. He said nothing. He turned to his aide, send one ship to the outer systems, he said, which one, sir? The quietest. The council's fleet mobilized, but the quiet ship arrived first. The council could no longer hide their fear. Across the stars, leaders gathered their fleets. Warships were recalled. Reserves were awakened. Secret weapons, untested and old, were moved from vaults into orbit. Every world prepared for the worst. The order was clear. If Earth sends another battleship, intercept it before it reaches council space. Thousands of ships gathered along the neutral border. They formed a wide line, thick with destroyers, carriers, and drones. It looked strong. Impressive, but it wouldn't matter. On a small outpost near the edge of council territory, a scout ship picked up something strange. A quiet signal. No distress. No warning. Just a stillness. Could be a damaged freighter, the pilot said. The navigator narrowed his eyes. Or something worse. They adjusted their scope. A single black ship emerged from hyperspace. It wasn't glowing. It didn't broadcast a name, but it looked like the silent one. The scout ship sent an alert. Seconds later, the council fleet turned to face it. The black ship floated toward them, alone. I in the command bridge of the council's main battle cruiser. Alarms rang. All ships, battle stations. Target the Terran vessel. Hold fire, a senior officer yelled. We fire, we start the war. But what if it fires first? Everyone stared at the screen. The Terran ship stopped just outside firing range. For 5 full minutes, nothing happened. Back on Earth, the commander watched the standoff from a live feed. His aide asked, should we order it back? No. The commander said. This is their test. Let's see how the council responds. Do you think they'll attack? The commander's voice was flat. I think they'll panic. In the council fleet, tension rose. The admiral barked orders. Send warning signals. Ask their intent. They sent 3 messages. And a reply. Then, a small light blinked on the Terran ship's hull. A hatch opened, but no weapons emerged. Instead, a satellite was released, small, white, and unarmed. It drifted forward. When the council scanned it, they were shocked. The satellite carried medical supplies, food packets, power cells, all tagged with Earth's seal. What does it mean? One officer asked. The admiral whispered, it means Earth remembers. Even now, they choose to help. Back in the council chamber, the image of the silent Terran ship and its single gift filled the screen. The room was quiet. Brent stood up. They sent one ship. Again. Not to destroy us, but to remind us who they are. A counselor growled, but what if this is just a trick? Myra's voice cut through. They've already shown they can destroy you. But they didn't. That's not a trick. That's restraint. Later, the council ordered their fleet to stand down. Slowly, one by one, their ships turned away. The black ship remained a few moments longer, then, without a sound, it turned and vanished into hyperspace. No fire. No battle, just a quiet warning and a quiet gift. The galaxy saw the footage. Billions watched the black ship face 1,000 enemies and leave without firing a single shot. Across the stars, the message was clear. Earth does not fear war. But it prefers peace, and when peace is offered, Earth gives it freely. Back on the moon base, the commander looked at the empty space where the ship had returned. His aide smiled. It worked. The commander simply nodded. Now they know fear. Let's teach them respect. Asterisk. Now the galaxy watches and Earth holds the final move. The stars were quiet again, but this time, it was not peace. It was watchfulness. Every ship in the galaxy kept its senses tuned. Every colony kept a nervous eye on the deep black, waiting to see if another Terran battleship would arrive, but nothing came. No fleets. No armies. Just silence, and that scared them more than war ever could. Inside the council chambers, the mood had changed. The proud voices were gone. The mocking smiles had vanished. Now, they listened when Myra spoke. They gave us a chance, she said. They came with war first, because we forced their hand. But now, they came with help. Bren nodded. One ship showed more power than 1,000 fleets. But that same ship delivered medicine and food. The council leader stared out the high window at the dark stars. They want us to think hard before we speak again. And I think we finally understand. A new message was sent to Earth. The Council recognizes Terran sovereignty. We invite peaceful talks on neutral ground. No weapons. No threats. Only respect. This time, Earth answered. 2 words, we accept. The meeting was held on a quiet space station orbiting a neutral moon. No guards. No fleets. Just voices. From Earth came a tall woman in black. Not a soldier. Not a diplomat, just someone who had seen war and understood peace. Myra stood beside her as a guide. The council leader stood across from them. Why did you wait so long to speak? The woman from Earth gave a small smile. Because for years, you never listened. The room was silent. Now, she continued, you've heard us. And that is enough, for now. Back on Earth's moon base, the commander watched the peaceful talks begin. His aide asked, do you think it will last? The commander looked thoughtful. For now. But we'll keep building. Quietly. Carefully. More ships. No, he said. Smarter ones. Why? He turned to the stars. Because peace is best protected by the one who doesn't need to use his sword, but still sharpens it every day. In deep space, far from any known system, the black orbital factory continued its slow rotation. More hulls floated in the dark, not dozens, hundreds, some half-built. Some nearly complete. Some already glowing with quiet power, each one silent, each one ready, but none of them moving, because Earth had made its move, and the galaxy had finally listened. Final log entry. Myra, they called us dreamers. Weak. Primitive. And then Earth showed them what strength built from suffering looks like. Now, they call Earth something else. Not monsters. Not tyrants. They call them guardians. Because true power is not in how loud you roar, but how quiet you can be while still making the stars hold their breath. Asterisk.